Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audiblepodcast.com/Sorgatron Media. Over 75,000 titles to choose from for your iPod, iPhone, or MP3 player.
I'm getting awesome, you're getting awesome, we're getting awesome, yeah, that's what I said now. I'm getting awesome, you're getting awesome, we're getting awesome, yeah, that's what I said.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the AwesomeCast. We're back again this week. We have, look, the logo's on the other side now. Look, that means we did something different. And you'll know some other differences. We are on a new system. We did a crash course and started with Wirecast last week. I've watched a few tutorials. We're gonna try some new stuff this week. So bear with us as we learn things, and I learn all the new buttons and knobs and whistles and everything. But with me, as usual, is my trusty co-host Rob De La Creta. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Honestly, my main gripe of the day is the fact that I wake up and it's dark, and then I work in a building with no windows all day. And then when I leave that building, it's dark outside. So if anybody has any vitamin D they want to send me, that would be swell.
How are you recovering from the turkey day there? I saw you were experimenting with some cooking. Oh, yeah. Actually,
that is... Well, I made an amazing turkey, not to toot my own horn, but it was kind of amazing. First time making a turkey, first time making stuffing. First time making gravy, which was not difficult. If you think gravy's difficult, you're wrong. I'm sorry. It's easy.
Was it lumpy?
No, it was not. I will admit that I reduced it a little too much. So when it got cold, it got kind of like real thick, but otherwise super easy. I also, for the last week or so, I've been making pies, my first pies ever, somewhat courtesy of our guest, because he had posted a recipe on Twitter, and I got this bright idea to make some pies out of the pumpkin I had sitting around. And today I finished my 4th pumpkin pie because a jack-o'-lantern makes like 7 pies. So
wow,
yeah, I love pumpkin pie.
Let
me tell you.
I would hope.
Here's a pic of your golden juicy turkey I found on here.
Oh, yeah. Bragging rights done in 3 hours, 15-pound turkey. What's up?
There's some Thanksgiving Day street cred there. Turkey cred, sure. And then also joining us, there's a new face behind me. Sam Wilson joins us from, which state are you from again?
It's this state called Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yes.
We do have internet in Kentucky.
Yes, we have internet as long as we feed the mule 2 pounds of oats every hour.
Oh.
He can move his little mule legs and provide us enough bandwidth to do cool things like this. It's very exciting. Thank you for having me on the show. It's very cool.
No problem. And of course, you're representing StoryPixel.com, where a lot of your work is. Please, let the audience know. Whoa, crunch.
Sorry, dropped the microphone headset thing.
Everything just fell. So tell Sam, what do you do out there in Kentucky?
Well, I do design, web design, but I don't do a lot of it here. There's, I guess when I first started in 2005, I did a lot of Flash work. I started my independent business in 2005. I've been working with web stuff since 2000. Got started in Flash and continued that. Worked with Estee Lauder and Clinique and blah, 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 and did a lot of Flash for those guys. And I got really tired of Flash. So earlier this year, for a few years now, I've been doing front-end stuff, web standards. I really like that whole vector. And that's what I've been interested in the last couple of years. And that's where my interests lie. Standards-based design, usability, everything that Flash isn't. And I'm going to get some sort of hateful I may get a hateful email or two because I actually did run the Flash Club here for a couple of years. So
that's okay. We know a few people that are members of the what do they call it here? Flash Pit or something?
Flash Pit.
There's a user group around here.
What is it called? You should be ashamed of yourself.
Pug or something? I can't remember it. It's been a while since I looked into them. So
it's Flash Pit. It's kind of a big deal.
Well, Flash Pit's the big event they put on, but I think there's a group as well.
Yeah.
So not a stranger to it.
I like to qualify what I said about Flash. Flash itself is fine. It's just here locally, it's very hard to find clientele to use Flash with in the appropriate way.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just more of a business strategic. There's no bad technology. So I just want to clarify. I have nothing against Flash. It's just that I no longer work in it. So Flash Pit, yay!
Pro Flash Pit. Now I understand your. I don't want to become a. Wait, what you got? Hold that up again.
This is
a Pixel Workers.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah. I wore mine yesterday. Hold on.
Oh, where's Rob? Rob's walking away.
Rob's going to get his dirty laundry.
That room's a lot bigger than it looks on camera, apparently.
You got a headphone in here. This is the Pixel Workers.
Pixel Workers represent.
Sure.
Represent. Built with genuine Pittsburgh pride.
Yeah.
So fill people in. You're showing off the T-shirts here. So what is Pixel Workers for the people, the uninitiated?
Pixel Workers was started by a friend of mine, Jay Finelli. He runs a company called Full Stop Interactive. They're a interactive design company here in Pittsburgh, and it's basically like there's a lot of groups dedicated to there's like your craftsmen's guilds, things like that, stuff dedicated to people who are very talented in their field. And he, as a designer, wanted to develop something where you could join up and be proud of producing really high quality design work. So if you are a pixel worker, a pusher of pixels, then you represent. And he's trying to. It's spreading pretty virulently, virulently. Yeah, sure. That's a word.
Mind the fuzz. We're apparently having some connection issues with Rob over there. But yeah, I was putting the site up, and it's not just Pittsburgh represented. There's a little bit of Seattle there. There's a Chicago.
Yep.
There's some San Francisco. So all the big hubs represented. So
yeah.
Yeah, so go check that out. It's unitedpixelworkers.com if you're interested in that. So, well, with that, we were starting to talk about. So you're looking to move out here locally into Pittsburgh.
Yes. So in June 2011, I will be moving into Pittsburgh with my wife and our now 14-month-old. We chose Pittsburgh for two reasons. First reason is it's awesome and it's the perfect size city. And I'm not just this is not it's this really exciting city, and it's not enormous and it's not tiny. It's just like where we want to be. And also her parents live within a few hours, so that's going to be useful to us as our son grows. But yeah, we're really excited looking at the Lawrenceville area, looking for, homes in the Lawrenceville area. Very excited. Rob actually has been more than helpful and in this sort of making this transition. But yeah, I'm really excited about moving to Pittsburgh. Absolutely.
Excellent. Now, I was looking into your stuff. What is this? Help me if I'm mispronouncing epicalism.
So Epic Small is Epic Small is a concept. It's this concept of doing something creative on a very small scale to jumpstart your creativity on whatever scale. For example, a lot of it came out of a unconference that I spoke at. An unconference would be, for those who aren't familiar, it's just essentially a format that allows anyone in the audience to lead a discussion as well as participate in a discussion. And so I decided to lead a discussion on this idea of doing something small and focused. Because as we were going around the room and people were announcing their topics, I noticed a trend of, we need a better art scene, and we need a new bike lane, and we needed all these things. And the thing that I really realized about all these goals, they were all noble, but they required more than one person to actualize. And so I started thinking sort of in the opposite vector, is like, what can you do that's small but also epic? And I just stood up and said, I want to give a discussion about doing small creative things, and we're going to call this Epic Small. So that's the beginning of it. That talk went really well. I had no ambitions about this, but someone started a Facebook group, and it got a few hundred people. I don't know. I guess it sort of rang a bell. Then after that, I decided that we needed a way to track it. So I did epicsmall.com. And it just was a way for people to sort of post something that they want to do. Like this week, I'm going to draw something on a napkin for 1 minute and then take a photo and share it. And the tenets of Epic Small are you do something, you share it, and you do something within a week and you share it, and it needs to be creative. And it's a really simple philosophy, and I feel like that's the sort of sums up the way that I like to live my life, is do something small and, do the next thing. And these are small things that you can do. And also one confusion about Epic Small is like, oh, you should never do anything large, but that's not at all it. It's just, don't forget to stop and do the small things, just creative, silly things that we used to do as a kid a day. So that's that.
There you go. Excellent. Go check that out. Epicsmall.com. We're showing a few pics while we're talking about it there. Excellent. Well, let's get right into the news here. Thanks for joining us, Sam. Well, the first thing, Rob actually reminded me of this right before the show. Your DNS may be seized from you. Rob, what's going on with this?
That is certainly one way to put it. Basically, a piracy domain seizure bill has gained a whole lot of support, obviously by the RIA, the MPAA, companies like Viacom, and all the big media producers. And so on Cyber Monday, ironically enough, pardon me while I click through some links here, the authorities cracked down. The ICE, ironically enough, the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, part of the U.S. government, shut down 82 sites believed to be involved in piracy. So it's basically, if you operate a website that is involved with piracy, like a Pirate Bay or anything like that, they are taking it into their own hands to jump into the DNS, the dynamic name servers, and just making it so nobody can access your website via your domain. To kind of spell it out for our listeners and viewers who might not understand the inner workings of the internet. Basically, every computer on the internet has an IP address, just like your house has a home address. It's how we know how to access each other on the internet. So whenever you go to a website, you don't type in a set of numbers, which would be an IP address. You type in a name that's easier to remember, and that's all connected to what's called a DNS. The dynamic name server, and that is basically a registry that's spread out over hundreds of thousands of computers across the world, all operated by separate corporations, but they are all fed by one very large registry, which is operated by the ICANN, I believe. And so basically there is a one-stop shop for this information, and all these servers depend on their updates from the ICANN or from whatever server is above them. And so what the government is doing is going straight to the top and saying this website is believed to be involved with nefarious things, and then suddenly when you type in coolfreethings.com, it doesn't send you anywhere. Now the really cool thing about this, I say cool and you say no, it's bad. Well, the cool thing is people have taken this moment to innovate on the idea of the DNS, because like as I describe it to you, you could probably figure out there's a bunch of holes in that. Kind of in the fact that the government can say, like, hey, let's take down this website. And, you know, a lot of us would rather the government maybe keep its grubby hands off my fancy internet. And you want it to be more open. So this has given birth to the P2P Decentralized Open Domain System project, which seeks to use a BitTorrent-like service to run the DNS system. So instead of large corporations and companies passing around the DNS information, basically users are given the option to, well, it hasn't quite been kicked off yet, but the idea is to develop software. And, anybody would essentially be able to run a DNS server that would run aside from the ICANN system, and that way nobody can take away your internet.
Yeah, one big problem with the ICANN, and I didn't realize this. The ICANN, of course, is a American group that's looking over all the domains and DNSs, but they control it internationally. So the U.S.
has their fingers in the worldwide internet. It's just kind of like, you know, the internet was developed out of DARPA in the U.S., and the centralized operations of the internet have never left the United States for the most part.
So, in the this P2P thing, it's interesting, and especially today, it just seems like more and more of the freedom of the internet is being taken away. And the other thing is, who's deciding who gets taken down? Because one of the big names that comes up in the news is, I think it's torrentsearch.com, and all they did was a search engine that brought up torrents. You know, it wasn't explicitly something to bring up, you know, look for movies or copyrighted material. It seemed. And it seems like something that could be just as easily given. Oh, and I think the owner of it's in Egypt, so I don't know what more they can do to proceed with stopping them from just buying another domain or maybe even getting the IP number out there. You know, it's, I don't know. It's one of those things we kind of saw this coming. You know, the government seems to be trying to have emergency switches and everything every day, and then there's another ankle on it.
Yeah, I will say that the ICE did go about this probably the best way. They weren't just taking potshot guesses at who was doing what wrong. They did, because it's the ICE dealing with what does that stand for? I can never remember that. I mean, they have such a cool acronym. You'd think it would stand for something better than U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. But because they're in customs enforcement, so basically they found websites like your Alibaba.com or your DealExtreme.com, that kind of stuff. And they would purchase what they suspected to be knockoff goods, and they waited until they received them, verified they were a knockoff of U.S. brands, and that's when they decided to seize the domains.
Well, speaking of something that started on did it start Cyber Monday or Black Friday?
Cyber Monday was the crackdown.
Of course, the big deals over the weekend. There were tons of them. My mailbox was flooded with every Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Cyber Week. I think is a new coin. They're trying to extend it, just like they're trying to stretch out Christmas to October, where the cyber keeps growing. So, you guys come across any good deals or stories or partake in anything over the weekend? Over the madness?
One interesting story I heard, and I think this was like on the daily. It was some daytime something, but anyway, 80% of people had planned to buy something online or will buy something online, as opposed to like 65% will definitely go to like a brick and mortar store. So it's just interesting to see how the numbers are starting to flip for people are getting more and more comfortable with e-commerce. That growth is pretty much ahead of it, and it's we feel like we're all over. It's like of course e-commerce is big, but it's getting these people that didn't trust the internets are starting to trust them and buy. I think over $1 billion for the first time in sales. Just crazy. I don't have an e-commerce store, but we should start one.
We sell T-shirts online if that counts. But yeah, and it didn't seem when we were out. The mall seemed overly full, but it didn't seem packed by any time. We only went out here in the South Hills of Pittsburgh probably in the afternoon. But yeah, it's there's a lot more. It just seems like there's a lot more happening online. And people were commenting Amazon has some tremendous deals. I saw a little bit of innovation this year with I think O'Reilly had huge deals on their ebooks.
Yep.
I think at Asylum I saw the other day said he's going to try to buy all of the ones he needed by the end of the day. Other ebook deals like that. I think Audible had a pretty good sale. A lot of these digital sales going on. I think I even saw like Journey had a sale, which is student software, Photoshop and all that. So it's interesting to see the creativity that finally comes out with some of these. Some of the numbers I saw, of course, we ventured out. A wife of the show there, Missy, say the wave. We finally got her on camera and gave her a microphone for her to chime in. She picked up her iPad this weekend. We went to I realize my cameras have been wrong this whole time.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering. I'm like, I feel like I'm on the spot here.
I have to hit go, apparently. So, okay, this is something we'll learn as we go. So I should put the feed up behind me so I see what that's doing too. Anyways, we went out. We partook in the Verizon iPad, which we've been talking about for a while, which always seemed like a good deal because it's a nice $300 hotspot with no contract. That's the same price as a 3G, and we ended up with the hotspot for free in a contract. But still, it was a pretty good deal. But speaking of the iPad, there's a story out that a group analysts at Piper Jaffray monitor sales in a 7-hour period at a variety of Apple stores, and by their counts, the iPads were selling at 8.8 units per minute per store, or I'm sorry, per hour per store, which was a pretty brisk number. And plus, we were talking before that Oprah has declared the iPad her favorite thing. Have you seen this video? This disturbing video.
That's hilarious.
I've commented before. It scares me when I see people coveting their iPhones, but this just turned it into a full-out deity at this point. It had angel wings, and everybody was going insane. And of course, everybody in the crowd got one. But wow.
There was one guy who it looks like he was like praying or something, like doing this.
Yeah, I saw that.
You saw that, right?
Yeah, and like half the audience broke out in tears, and it was
Yeah, I think that's just like mob mentality. I mean, no, I don't think any human, like if there were only 3 people in the room, I don't think one guy would be praying. I think it's just what happens when you get a bunch of highly emotional people who really like Oprah Winfrey,
who are excited to be on TV if they go crazy enough, and maybe they're even told if they go crazy enough they'll get on TV at that point.
Yeah, they want them to be crazy, but I don't know. It makes for interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting meme going around because everybody's playing that video, for one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this goes along with apparently Oprah is on the iPad. So you can get your O magazine, Rob.
Yeah, she's on.
I'll have to go grab my O app.
Right.
So, which it's still happening. More and more of these publishers are trying to figure out what to do with these devices and kind of their next step. Rupert Murdoch is doing a lot of experimenting, it seems, and putting a lot of money into that.
Yeah, he. It was pretty hard not to hear this news, but it was actually revealed by I forget. It was some women's blog something or other that actually like dropped the bomb, and then eventually some actual news outlets confirmed it. Rupert Murdoch is going to be dropping a iPad exclusive publication probably sometime in December, possibly in the first couple weeks of December. That will be, the price is looking at 99 cents a week, so around like $4.25 a month, something like that, for iPad exclusive content from News Corporation. He's hired a crack team of 120-something journalists. Not 120, but 100 journalists who are 20-somethings. And the idea is it's going to be kind of a combination of sort of like hype beast and the more trendy news publications and a newspaper. So it's trying to get in on the younger crowd, which is, I don't even know if you can say that the younger crowd has iPads because they're fairly expensive, but certainly the hip 20-something crowd.
I think there's a gap there because you have your hip 20-something crowd, and then you have their kids that they put the toddler games on for them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also, when I say iPad exclusive, I'm not kidding. The idea is that it will not be available via a web browser, which I'm not sure is the best idea.
It definitely gets the exclusivity going. It's only going to be updated once a day, from what I understand. So it's going to be a very newspaper style. So it's not the latest, but it's if you like the way they do the news, you'll wait for it.
Has there been any word on if you can share, like if you like a story, if you can share things? Is it going to be a platform that you can that's sort of integrated with the web, or is it? I know you can't access it via the web on anything, I guess, other than an iPad. But how much of a closed, like a walled garden is it? Is there any word on that?
I don't think anybody said anything about the actual platform yet. Basically, he said that he's doing this cool thing, and then Richard Branson said, "Oh, I'm doing that too." But besides that, we don't know anything.
Is that the was it Profile that came out today, or Project? Project.
For Branson.
I'm sorry?
I think. What?
Is it that Project magazine that just came out this week?
Yeah, for Richard Branson.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see them integrating too much for sharing, because who are they going to share with, other than other, because you share an article.
Well, it's also certainly a situation, because the only thing that's going to make this super, super successful on the iPad is basically, person A says, "Oh, did you? What is this thing called? I forget. The Daily. Hey, that's creative." They're going to say, "Hey, did you see X story on the Daily?" And they'll say, "Oh, no, I didn't see it. I don't even have a tablet." And be like, "Well, you should get a tablet so you can read the awesome news story and see all this cool stuff." So that kind of thing where you're like sharing it with your friends who don't have it, like, or maybe even working on snippets, sort of like in the paywall sense of you get the first paragraph, but if you want more, you have to get the app or a tablet. And then,
but again, is like, how much are they going to push that you need the iPad? I mean, so do you even get to experience it without the iPad? And it doesn't sound like it from what I'm hearing. It's an interesting concept.
They've stated pretty explicitly that if you do not have a tablet, you do not get the Daily.
It's not iPads. It's tablets. To be clear.
Yeah, they've said tablets. They haven't been
okay.
Like, they haven't said anything about what in particular, but they have shown it off. Well, they haven't shown anything off, but they have like featured, like, basically, you're going to get it on your iPad. You're going to get it on your iPad. I'm sure some Android something, but we all care about the iPad. iPad. So.
Interesting. Yeah, there you go.
There's another thing that was put out by, I don't know, you'll find it if you search for News Plus, something I'm pretty excited about. It's on my Twitter stream. We'll put it in the show notes or something. But it is developed by I think it's a Norwegian design company. They have come up with a concept for newspapers, which is really compelling, which is, instead of saying, let's get one app that's good for everybody on the planet, which is kind of the Daily approach, what they've done is they've developed a really good platform for sharing, viewing stories, stuff like that, kind of like Flipbook, how that's a really good platform. But what they'll be doing is they're going to individual newspapers and saying, hey, would you like to put out a News Plus edition of your newspaper? And then it's kind of a very nice updates every, X amount of hours. It's also being updated throughout the day with the top stories, but it's very local to you. So for us Pittsburghers, it would be like getting the Pittsburgh Post on the iPad, except we don't depend on the bumbling abilities of the Pittsburgh Post to put it up. We only depend on them for content, but the interface itself is very well done.
Interesting. So this is kind of solved the location problem that they've been trying to solve with newspapers.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Right now, they released it this week, but like I said, the quote-unquote release was in the first couple of years, and those are all in Daneland or something.
I like that.
Go ahead, Sam.
So I like that. I'm trying to see if I understand. So if this platform would, if I had this application, I could maybe subscribe to the Pittsburgh Gazette, or if I'm in another city, I could get another. Or is it is every time they do like the Pittsburgh Gazette, I have to download that as an app, or is it how dynamic does it push out depending on what city you're in, or how's that work?
The impression that I get is that this is instead of like the panicking and saying, oh God, we don't have any physical readers, we need to be on the iPad. Instead, they go to News Plus as kind of a service provider and say, hey, we'd like to put out an app. They feed News Plus content, and then an app goes up. That would be you click on the Post-Gazette app on your iPad, and that would load up your issue of the Post-Gazette on your iPad. So it's not like you're downloading a new app every day or anything like that. It will be a news app just as much as like the Washington Post has an iPad app. But it's just that the interface and everything around it is controlled by News Plus, and the content is controlled by whatever newspaper you downloaded.
Yeah, I really like that. At least the local paper here is really struggling. It seems like they're laying off people, and if they could do some subscription-based thing where people could, get their paper digitally in a way that isn't ridiculous to get and not of poor design quality, I think that could really be something of a shot in the arm for local papers like the Lexington Herald Leader and papers all over the nation. Because there's a lot of talented people, but their medium is sort of hurting. So that's really exciting, I think.
Yeah, certainly, and obviously we've seen what happens when smaller corporations try and take on the idea of developing for the iPad and creating a compelling experience. And so at this point, it is the design group is Bonnier. They're a Swedish company. If you want more info, you can go to bonnier.com/en/NEWSPLUS News Plus. But they are a privately held Swedish media group. But certainly they're doing all the footwork. So they, like you said, I mean, there's plenty of great content out there, but sadly there aren't a whole lot of great user interface developers out there. So Bonnier does all the hard work for the visual experience, and your talented writers get their stuff out, and then your little newspaper, I mean, I don't know what the overhead is going to be, but it's certainly not nearly what it would be if they had to develop on their own. So more eyes on good content for much cheaper.
Excellent. Another thing that's come up in the news in the last couple of days, just trailing Comcast having a huge downage in the East Coast. I've been hearing about. But Comcast and Level 3 dispute over traffic. Netflix streaming costs may increase because of it. Of course, that's over at hackingnetflix.com. This is, unfortunately, I missed the big explanation on This Week in, Tech News Today. But apparently Level 3, which helps deliver Netflix's streaming movies, said Comcast had effectively erected a toll booth that threatens the open internet, and it indicated that it would seek government intervention. Comcast has denied this and says it's a simple commercial dispute. So is this our fears of net neutrality realized finally?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, we got two opinions. Sam, where are you going with yours?
Oh yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think it is a commercial dispute to me, but that's I think it would be a convenient flag to pick up if I were, I guess, in this argument about the net neutrality. But I don't know. I don't. It doesn't seem to qualify. What do you think? What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like a petty argument, much like the same way that when Apple launched Ping, and initially Ping was supposed to have Facebook integration, but it was obvious that Ping was going to be using and abusing the API license for access to Facebook. This is basically Comcast and Level 3 having a disagreement over who is going to foot the bill for what content. It seems like, I mean, I can only imagine that there's a lot of letters and angry words passed back and forth before somebody actually pulled any plugs. And it's really dumb that it came to this. It kind of shows, a lack of maturity on both companies' end. But man, taking down the internet, that's a rough call.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sick of you guys. Unplug them.
I'm sorry, was that Rob?
I'm sick of you guys. Unplug them.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I saw the story about this, and then right after I also have, just for, fun to hear their side, Comcast Cares is in my reader too, and right after the news story started breaking, they had a response. So, give them to get their response out there on the internet quick. So I don't know. This really seems like the kind of thing where we can start seeing throttling. I'm a big user of Netflix. I know since it's become on my iPhone, my the data I use every month has steadily increased on my iPhone. And I use it all the time. Doing and Netflix is always up on the side when I'm working or whatnot, or lunch breaks and everything. It's a pretty vital thing, and I think they're seeing that it's everywhere in every device, and kind of saying, hey, we want our cut of this, or we want to make sure that you guys aren't getting this for free.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it is a competition to them. So.
Yep.
So, let's see what else we got in here. I can't actually move my tabs.
Are you using Chrome too?
Actually, I am using Chrome. I'm full screen on a Mac upstairs, and I can't get any more tabs out. So, Rob, can you pull up the next story, please?
Man, I don't even know. There's a story. We don't actually have it in here, but we can mention it. So, the Kinect, the motion device for the Xbox 360. So a lot of people have come out looking for hacks and making some pretty impressive hacks for making use of the hardware. And this is all being done because the USB interface on the Kinect was left wide open. There's nothing to block anyone from accessing it, hooking it up to a computer, and messing around with it. And so all this stuff came out, even though when who was it? ADAFRUIT put out a challenge. It said something like, whoever can create a set of APIs for the Kinect will give them like $1,000 or whatever. Microsoft shoots back and says, anybody who does this will be in violation of the terms of service and legal action and yada, yada, yada. So then like a week goes by, people hack the heck out of this thing and come up with some really awesome stuff because the Kinect is turning out to be quite a piece of hardware. And eventually Microsoft made a statement. I don't know if it was a statement. I think it was actually two guys just like being interviewed on TV. And they basically said like, oh yeah, that whole hacking the Kinect thing, no, you guys go ahead. We meant to leave that open. That was fine.
Yeah. They must have talked to marketing.
Yeah, they talked to marketing, and marketing was like, if you pull on this, we have a huge mark on our face. And it's also, I mean, the Kinect really is, if you take a look at all the hacks that are being done, like this is, like Kinect in gaming, very cool. I personally don't have an Xbox 360, not planning on buying one, or Kinect because I don't have a lot of time to play games. I really wish I did, but I don't. But the other uses for the Kinect that are going to be pretty kind of a big deal. So it's fantastic to see that a good piece of hardware about one purpose is being used for 1,000 other purposes, with the potential to revolutionize all different kinds of industries. And Microsoft is letting it happen. So kudos to Microsoft for
one of those cool things they're doing, of course, is high technology. And the first really impressive video I get to see what they've done with it is play Super Mario Brothers. There's a video right there on YouTube. And you can actually see what the Kinect sees from the regular camera and what from the infrareds, and how he's moving to move Mario. And there's a few spots in here actually where they're playing Super Mario Bros. 2. And of course, I'm sure as we go we'll get some more in-depth applications other than this. So some pretty cool stuff coming out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I actually played something. So what is the PlayStation the Wii clone or something like that?
The Move.
Yeah, the Move. Have you played that? Have you messed with that?
I haven't played the Move. I stopped at a Best Buy last week, I think. Played the Kinect, and there was a poor Sony guy there with his Move, and nobody wanted to play it. And I hear it's not really going off that great from people that have played with it. It really just looks like it's going to be like the Wii. I really anticipate though, both Sony and Nintendo's reaction to the Kinect. I mean, it may not come for a while, but I feel like this is I really think that this is like a real big deal. Like with playing games without controllers, it opens it up to people who are confused by controllers. A lot of older, but also in our generation, people who just don't play video games a lot. They intuitively get the Kinect, and I think that's a huge deal. And I feel like this is going to grow the video game market in ways that will be surprising. Even though the video game market is huge, I think it's going to get even more huger. Fantastic.
Yeah, just like how touchscreens on tablets have been a huge evolution. Like we've seen the range from 3-year-old kids. A friend of mine actually has a kid who just turned 2 a little while ago, and I get a kick out of passing her. It's called Magic Piano. I forget who makes it, but it's not like I could explain to her how to play the piano application, but she seems to have figured out pretty well. And then there's the other stories about the 90-year-old woman, the one who's writing poems on her iPad, like being able to have tactile feedback, just like using her fingers, using her hands, to control something is a really huge deal. It opens up a whole lot of venues, like you said, to people who are often confused by these controllers, maybe people who aren't down on boards and mice, to use computers. And I think being able to use something like the Kinect to control your computer is probably right around the corner. I mean, I'm sure somebody's working on the ability to manipulate your desktop using the Kinect as we speak.
Even before this, just look how many Nintendo Wii's ended up in old folks' homes. There you go. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week, guys. We got the crew coming in for the next show, so we'll go ahead and wrap this up here. Sam, for everything you're working on, well, first, thanks for joining us and giving us your input on all the stories this week. Where can people find out what you're up to?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. The show is, I was checking it out before I was on, and you guys do a great job, and thanks for having me. Also, people can check me out at storypixel.com, juliecms.com, epicsmall.com, and Twitter, I'm storypixel. Give me say hello. Get Pittsburgh. for all those for local Pittsburgh. I'm excited. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks a lot. And Rob, what are you up to this week that people can check out? I understand you're a journalist.
Yeah, that's the word. I'm a journalist. That's what they say. I'm a journalist and a wielder of X-Acto knives. But yeah, if you want to read the things that I talk about, it's robjdlc.com, and you can look at my Tumblr, my Flickr, my Facebook, my MySpace, my Zanga, my Live Journal, whatever.
Whatever, it's out there. Whatever. And of course, you can check out everything going on with me over at sorgatron.com. I got a few posts up there, little rants, a little bit here and there. My 365 picture challenge has been going really well. I'm a whole 7 days into it. Just 358 to go, right? So go check that out. There's more information about that over there. And, of course, check out all the shows going on, sorgatronmedia.com. We just did a Chachi Says with him down in the south side. And we got all kinds of fun stuff planned for Christmas. It's the holidays. So we're going to start. I think I want to start decorating the studio here. We'll get a little bit of tinsel back here and everything. Maybe I'll just put lights around the monitors. It'll be great. It'll be great.
You should get a reindeer.
A reindeer? Like one of those creepy moving ones?
No, like a real, just something.
No. Yes.
I mean, we already got a stuffed owl, so maybe I could just get him kind of,
You need to get the owl a Santa hat. I think that's the key.
Oh, he's had a Santa hat before, I think, in the past,
really?
Right? I mean, the owl has been a part of many a podcast down here in the studio. Like a real reindeer. Yes, a real reindeer. Says Riz in the chat room.
Just grazing in the background.
We're going to have to hire somebody to clean up after. Yeah, grazing in the background. We'll just plant grass right here in front of Rob.
Yeah. Behind a large dog or cat, maybe a substitute, but you have to get creative with the.
We have a medium-sized dog. We can definitely put antlers on that thing. So, excellent. Thanks again. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, everybody joining us in the chat room. Thanks, Missy, for helping us wrangle the chat room and the Twitters and everything. And everybody, head over to AwesomeCast.com. Follow us at AwesomeCast on the Twitters. Hit us up at contact at AwesomeCast.com and all that stuff. And we'll see you guys next week. Stay awesome.